All right, the next step in self-talk is really hammering home moving on. Now, this really refers to when a mistake happens. We mentioned to you before that in the game of football, 90% of games are decided by a mistake, if not higher, percentage-wise. Now, that means that a goal is caused because somebody made a mistake. Maybe they lost the ball by dribbling, maybe they gave a bad pass, maybe they passed right to the other team. And we see, for example, horror stories on TV where the goalkeeper gives a terrible pass right to the other team. Goal. Or a center back, bad pass. Center defensive midfielder, bad pass. Just as an example. Right? Now, the question I want you to ask yourself, have you ever made a mistake in a game and completely talked yourself down? Right? So ask yourself that. Have you ever made a mistake in a game and completely talked yourself down? Maybe you said something like, of course I gave a bad pass. I always make mistakes. Coach, please sub me. Maybe that sounds familiar to you. And listen, it's okay. You make mistakes. It's a part of the game and a part of life. Learn to move on and stop being so negative. Right? And I've said this phrase to you before. Instead of being so negative, I got the next one. The reason why is when you talk yourself down, obviously it's going to hinder your performance. It's going to be negative. But two, you can completely shut down. So let's say you make a mistake in the 3rd minute of a game and you're playing as a center defensive midfielder and you give the ball away. Leads to a corner kick. I've seen players that have literally dropped their head and probably said something to them, of course I gave a bad pass. I suck. Well, if you think like that, how do you expect to recover in the game and perform better? You're not going to. You're not going to perform better. You're going to be stuck doing the same thing in this horrendous cycle of not changing your performance. That's why moving on is so important. You make a mistake, who cares? Everybody makes mistakes. I gave you an example of Ronaldo making 3 huge mistakes. He would have buried 9 times out of 10, he would have buried them. Well, guess what? That one time he didn't. And it's a part of the game. So step up, move on, and get into the next part of the game. Now, what you need to understand is a lot of mistakes are going to lead to frustration. So a great key to this is letting go and move on. You missed a scoring chance? Who cares? Instead of saying, I cannot score, say, okay, I didn't score this time, but I got myself in the right position. I got the next one, right? Instead of being so negative about it, yeah, you didn't score, but you were in the right position, you got the next one. Or maybe you realize what you did wrong. Okay, I mistimed my jump, and I got underneath the ball. So the ball, when I hit it with my head, it shot up. But I got the next one. This is extremely effective and will change your mental perspective during the game. And again, it comes down to, I got the next one. I got the next one. You can see with those 2 phrases, I got the next one. And this is something that you probably do all the time. You give a bad pass, you try and dribble somebody 1v1, and you go, I can't dribble this guy. I can't dribble to the right. And I'll be honest with you, this is something that I've said myself. As an example, I personally feel like when I play somebody 1v1, I'm much better dribbling when I go to my left than when I go to my right. It sounds really weird, and it is really weird. But I've built this up over time, where when I go to the right, I give myself more of an excuse to not be successful. I need to stop doing that. I need to push myself to go to the right more and say, okay, didn't get it right this time. I need to improve X, Y, and Z. I got the next one. And then that way I can break down that mental habit and push through that. Because I got the next one. I got the next one. I'm moving on. Instead of sulking on something and say, I suck. I can't do this. I got the next one. You start doing this, it will change the way you play. Because what I want you to take away right now, make sure you're really paying attention to this last part. Everybody, including you, are going to make mistakes in the game and in life. It's how you react and move on from them that separate the good from the great. So it's your decision. How do you want to proceed? See you in the next video.